Only a couple more Saturdays until week 0 has officially started college football. Can't wait. Of course, NFL's coming in September as well, man. What a time to be alive with football right around the corner. But of course, we got some preseason, so you got just a little bit more before the season officially begins. Welcome back to Grizzly Talks Football, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be discussing the newly out AP poll for the preseason. Also, I'll be talking about some of my hot takes about the poll itself for teams that are in it. Should be a fun one. I think it should be a little shorter one as well as not as short as the coaches poll one though. So anyways, without further delay, let's get straight to it. And here it is, the 2026 preseason AP polls officially out. Let's discuss this. So in the top 5, you got Ohio State number 1, Oregon 2, Georgia 3, Notre Dame 4, Texas 5. National champions and the runner-ups are at 6 and 7, A&M at 8, Ole Miss at 9, OU at 10. Then we got LSU at 11, Texas Tech at 12, Bama 13, BYU and USC are tied for 14th. Michigan 16, Washington 17, 18 are Nittany Lions, Penn State, SMU 19, Tennessee 20. And then rounding out the top 25, you got Utah 21, Iowa 22, Houston 23, Louisville 24, and Missouri 25. A very interesting preseason poll to say the least. Oh yeah, and before we forget, the top 5 vote getters, or well, not really vote getters, but like top 5 teams of points for the other teams that receive votes for the AP poll. Those teams are Clemson, Florida, Boise State, South Carolina, and Navy. Yeah, judging for this poll, not a single group of 5 team is on here, and there are still 9 SEC teams in this top 25, which is just crazy, considering that they haven't won a national championship in 3 years. So, of course, like I said before, SEC leads the conferences and most teams in the AP poll from the conference with 9. Then the Big Ten is second with 8. Yeah, like over half of this poll is just SEC and Big Ten teams. Yeah, no wonder they're looking to have a super conference there. Then, of course, Big 12 has 4 teams, the ACC has 3, and then there's only 1 independent. That's Notre Dame at the top. It's becoming very apparent as who are the top 2 conferences in the college football as of right now. Me personally, LSU and USC are a bit overhyped. Texas Tech should get a lot more respect. Indiana and Miami should be in the top 5 instead of Notre Dame. I do agree with the top 3. It's a mix of Ohio State, Georgia, Oregon, maybe Indiana would be put in there too. They only got them down because they lost Carson Beck and, Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman winner. You know what the goal of that thing is? It's to reload. It's to get a better class to take over. And Indiana has Josh Hoover now, and Miami has Derek Mensah. The roster turnover doesn't apply too much to Miami as it does Indiana, though. I will give them that. But anyways, let's get into the hot takes. AP poll hot takes, I'm just going to do one team per row. So we're going to start with the top. I'm going to say Notre Dame's going to be the subject for this first hot take. And here it is. Notre Dame actually loses 3 to 4 games and misses the playoffs. So if you don't already know, Notre Dame has little clause in their little thing with the playoff committee that if they are in the top 12 at all at the end of the final CFB rankings, they are automatically in the playoff. Some of their impact players, you got quarterback CJ Carr coming in for his, redshirt sophomore season. They got a brand new running back because Love and Price are now in the NFL as first round picks. A nice Williams. And then, of course, on defense, as I mentioned before, you got Thorpe Award favorite Leonard Moore and also Drake Bowen at linebacker. I will say this, Marcus Freeman's in his 5th season. In the 4 years he's been the head coach, they have had no more than 4 losses. However, they have not had as few losses as 2. He's coming off back-to-back seasons where he's lost 2 games, one of which he made the playoff, the other he didn't. I think we all know what happened after they didn't make the playoff just this past season. It's actually kind of rare for a team of that high talent to do that, but we've seen it time and time again. I mean, evidence being 2012 USC with Lane freaking Kiffin as their head coach. No wonder they actually collapsed. So entering his 5th season, Notre Dame with Marcus Freeman, it's playoff or bust. Actually, one of the easier schedules in the nation. I mean, they do have matchups against BYU and Miami to help that out. But in my opinion, even with those 2 games, there's always going to be that early letdown game for the Irish. I mean, it's pretty apparent every single year. there was that game against Marshall a couple years ago, and then of course the NIU game, and yeah, the Texas A&M game last year. No offense to the Yankees, but they had no business winning that game. It is rare for Notre Dame to have that kind of season where they lose 3 to 4 games and miss the playoffs entirely, but I think this might be the season where they have a lot of this talent just to not make it. Moving on, we are going to 6 through 10. I'm going to go Ole Miss. Strange going Ole Miss here, I know. But here is my SEC hot take for Ole Miss. Pete Golding wins SEC Coach of the Year, and his team goes all the way to the national championship. I can see why a lot of experts are down on Ole Miss. I mean, literally because of Lane Kiffin. But I gotta be honest with you, he's too much of a douchebag to even consider staying at Ole Miss when you got LSU offering all that money. He definitely turned his career around, that's for sure. And now Coach Golding is now the full-time head coach for Ole Miss after a very outstanding run against Georgia and even Miami as well, even though they lost that semifinal game. They are bringing back Trinidad Chambliss. They still got Keywan Lacey. Yeah, receiving core did get tampered with a little bit, but it should still be okay. I think my only main concern with this Ole Miss team is defense. I guess the big 3 is Keaton Thomas, Luke Farrelly. Actually, big 4, are Centarian Perkins, Keaton Thomas, Luke Farrelly as linebackers, and defensive back Jonel Aguero. I know how explosive the offense can be, but let's see what this defense can do. Let's see if they can keep that level up that they had last year. I think with how Pete Golding has been red hot since that playoff run he went on, I think he should be in good hands. Now we look at the middle row. I was between LSU and USC and Alabama. I wasn't going to do BYU or Texas Tech because I think we know how successful they'll be. Or at least how they should be. I'm actually going to go with LSU here. I think all these so-called experts is suspecting the great things for Lane Kiffin in his first year at LSU. I mean, it's a great transfer portal class indeed. But you know, this team did not win more than 8 games last year. They were under Brian Kelly. Oh yeah, Fat 7-6 was the record last year for LSU. My hot take for them is this. LSU will barely make the playoffs with a 10-2 record, but they will also have the Ole Miss kind of run. They're going to go to the semifinals. Yeah, you thought I was going to say something negative to there, but yeah, the audience, a majority of them are saying that LSU is going to have a little drop-off here. Or at least they're not even going to make the playoffs. They think they're going to have 3, 4, or 5 losses. I disagree. As much as it pains me to say this, I mean, Texas Tech, the previous season, had the number 1 transfer portal class. They made the playoffs as Big 12 champs. And now LSU is now number 1 in the transfer portal rankings. The sky's the limit for that LSU team. The only controversy with LSU is just Lane Kiffin, just his character. If he could just keep his mouth shut and coach the way he did last season, LSU should be in good hands. Sam Levitt's his quarterback. You got Jace Brown, Trey Green at tight end. And then on defense, you have Prince Mamilin. You got Whit Weeks at linebacker. And of course, in the secondary, I'm going to guess Deshaun Spears, PJ Woodland. Oh yeah, and then you also have DJ Pickett and TJ Daugherty. I think they switched DJ Pickett's number to 5. And Jane Daniels got offended. By the way, Jane Daniels, how dare you go with season desist over a jersey number? A jersey number is a jersey number, man. That's like saying Tom Brady should have his number retired, 12 for all NFL teams. There's just other ways to honor these kind of players. But still, like this LSU team, on the topic of that, they're very, very talented. Offense has got years of experience, so has the defense. It should be a pretty interesting year to say the least. It's going to be a big headline heading into the season. Now we move on to 16 to 20. I'm trying to go through this a little bit quicker. We got all 5 of these teams are definitely going to be very interesting to talk about. I'm actually going to take a look at Penn State for this one. And I'm going to say Penn State in Matt Campbell's first season falls flat on their face. They actually go 8-4. First years and Penn State head coaches, unless you're Joe Paterno, it doesn't go well for you. I mean, James Franklin, first couple years before he had that 2016 campaign where he made the Rose Bowl and won the Big Ten title, yeah, it was pretty rough. Ended his tenure pretty rough as well. But Matt Campbell does bring some prestige with Iowa State, and he brought pretty much the entire team from the Cyclones to Penn State. But they have not played anything like Big Ten football, and I mean, they do go against Iowa, but that was pretty much the only Big Ten experience they had. And it's not a great experience. So I think Matt Campbell's season's going to be a little bit rough to start out, but eventually he'll climb up and get this team to where they're hoping to get to, that is the playoff. Just to name a few of the Iowa State transfers on offense, Rocco Becht, you got Carson Hansen out there, you have, I'm just looking at it, Benjamin Brommer, Jeremiah Cooper, Caleb Bacon, LeVar Arrington II for Penn State. Oh no, he wasn't an Iowa State guy. He just stuck with Penn State because that's where his dad went to. Great turnover in the benefit of players coming in, thanks to Iowa State, of course. Let's see if Matt Campbell can turn this whole trajectory of Penn State choking the big games around, because that's what James Franklin was best at, blowing big games. Please don't turn it to James Franklin 2.0. You know I want you to succeed. And finally, 21 through 25. This is going to be a little interesting. The hot take is that they will finish in the top 10 of the final AP poll when it's all said and done. And that team is going to be Houston. Not really much of anybody outside of the Big 12 is taking the Cougars, or the Houston Cougars, seriously. There's one name you need to know that could potentially get Houston to where he took a certain group of thought team. That guy's name is Willie Fritz. Loved his work with the Green Wave, taking them to the Cotton Bowl and getting an upset over a Heisman Trophy winner, Caleb Williams. Went to Houston after leading them to another solid season. Tulane, man, they went to the playoff. I mean, they did lose their head coach, and now they could be on the decline, maybe. But his transition to Houston, it took a while for them to get back to being in relevance again, and they actually beat LSU in their bowl game. They got some good momentum riding on their shoulders right now. Of course, the big three on the offensive side: quarterback Connor Weigman, running back transfer from Oregon Mekhi Hughes, and wide receiver Amari Thomas. Of course, two defensive backs to watch out for: Will James and Kentrell Webb. Did I also forget to mention that they had some good interior as well? Shadre Hurst at guard and D tackle Khalil Lafau. Oh yeah, and almost forgot tight end Carter Moses and center Anthony Boswell. Wow. When I said they had some good interior, I mean they got great interior. Let's see what Willie Fritz can do in his third year with Houston. And that does it for the AP poll hot takes. NFL hot takes are coming soon. That will also do it for this episode of Grizzly Talks Football. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you give this a big thumbs up, hit the red subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single one of my videos. This is the Grizzly signing off for now, and until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace, love, keep the Grizzly Valley at all times. Take care.